Well, people, fall camp tomorrow. But as of right now, it is Wednesday, hump day, hottest show on the streets, bringing you your Alabama football news in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have you guys checking us out here on today. We're bringing you the show from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, you know what to do. Hit subscribe right now. Smash that subscribe button. Get all of your friends, family members, casual people, diehard people, everybody to subscribe to this channel right here, because if you love the content, they will as well, giving you non-stop Alabama football, putting that flavor in your ear right there. Also, run those likes up. Get that thumbs up. Go and hit that like button. Make this your show, your network platform, channel, and space too. Talk Bama. Turn on all those notifications. Hit that little bell so that way you miss absolutely nothing on your Crimson Tide. We also got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well, streaming to you this show, and a good one tonight as Bama getting cranked up. Fall camp starting tomorrow. Today, the players reported to campus to start fall camp. Nick Saban and Miss Terry Saban having the Knicks Kids Foundation for the Youth inside the stadium on today. A very awesome and amazing event that happens every single year, and it's a joy that, you know, Coach Saban and Miss Terry give back to the people, especially the youth in the city here of Tuscaloosa. So the players reported for camp on today, but the actual pants popping, football flying, Nick Saban throwing the straw hat, all of that takes place there on tomorrow. But it'll be fun to talk to my man Justin Smith a little bit later on in the show. Crimson Tide flipping a tight end from Ohio State to Bama, that being one Ty Lockwood. Looking forward to getting Justin's thoughts on that. And Bama's all in on trying to flip five-star Keon Keeley from Notre Dame to the Crimson Tide. So this 2023 class trying to make itself the best class ever when it comes down to the Nick Saban era. But we want to hear from you, the passionate fans of Bama football. We want to hear you guys today. Ring those phone lines. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. And I'm going to let your voice be heard here on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you about daily super chat go, $75 daily super chat go. And my man Bill, Big Bill from New York, getting us started with that $10 donation in the super chats. Appreciate the love there coming from my man BLS Dance. And Steven back. He's in the khaki pants doing his thing there on the desk. Happy to get that different dance to Steven. But we get to now the first topic of conversation as we got my two guys in the building, the maestro extraordinaire John Ivory in here behind the scenes, and the young Yoda, Eli Walker, associate producer, doing his thing here as well. So, fellas, first topic here of the evening going to Coach Saban before he took the podium for the Knicks Kids Foundation event today. He spent some time with WJOX Jogs 94.5 here in the Birmingham area. He was on with Greg McElroy and Cole Kublik, and he mentioned how last year was a rebuilding year for Alabama. If you noticed, all throughout the offseason, what was the main topic of conversation among us as consumers of Tide football? It was, last year was a rebuilding year for the Crimson Tide. It was a rebuild year. If Alabama would have won the national championship, yeah, it would have been great. Would have been cool. Would have been awesome. Would have been fantastic. But last year, it was a rebuild year. And so many people carried that same sentiment. So many people carried that same statement. But it's like, when Nick Saban says it, everything just clicks, right? When Nick Saban says it, it's like, oh, yeah, legit, right? Yeah, because it came out of Coach Saban's mouth. So it just makes it, I guess, it makes everything heightened when Saban brings it all to the forefront. And he mentions here, too, McElroy and Kublik, that last season was a rebuilding year for the Crimson Tide. And it's amazing how, this past season, everything that Alabama accomplished, 13 wins, SEC Western Division champion, SEC champion, made the college football playoff, crowned a Heisman Trophy winner, among other things. Now, if anybody else has this resume, they're popping Great Goose, they're popping Hennessy, they're running around the streets. They're just having a hunky-dory of a time. Why? Because if anybody else had this type of a resume, it's a darn good season for anybody else. But for Alabama, it's a rebuild year. And the reason why is Alabama is held to a bigger, better, under more of a microscope standard than everybody else is. Alabama holds itself to a standard, but everybody else holds Bama to even a higher standard that Alabama at times holds itself to. Like, if any other coach had this resume, he'd be getting a contract extension right now. But because Nick Saban has this resume, that's just typical Saban. Let's see, what else can he do? Didn't win the national championship, so that's a down year for Coach Saban because the national championship did not happen. Did all of this happen right here, as you see on the screen. And what's crazy about this all is you go back to how, Alabama lost a lot from that 2020 team. You think about this. It lost from the offensive line. Landon Dickerson. It lost Deontay Cornbread Brown. It lost Alex Leatherwood. All of that from the 2020 offensive line. It lost a starting quarterback in Mac Jones. It lost a starting running back in Najee Harris. It lost a starting wide receiver in Devontae Smith. It lost a couple of starting guys from the defense, especially Dylan Moses, Christian Barmore, and Patrick Surtain II. So you look at all of these losses here that Alabama took, and you had several guys last season that had to step up in major roles, right? Bryce Young replacing Mac Jones. He has to step up major role in being the starting quarterback. Will Anderson had to step up even more this past season. Even though he started as a freshman in 2020, he had to take an even major role this past year. Last season, Brian Robinson had to step up in a major role, taking over for the departed Najee Harris. So many different guys had to come up higher, so to speak. And even though there were guys in different roles, And even though Alabama brought in 2 transfers in Henry To'o and Jameson Williams, all this stuff in the melting pot still created success here for Alabama, despite the fact that no national championship was won. And then you also got to look at this. The injuries Alabama suffered last year. Bama down its top 2 receivers when the game was at its biggest against Georgia in the national championship. You're down 2 receivers. That's Jameson Williams and John Mechie. You're down 2 running backs. That's Chase McClellan and Roydell Williams. You're down 2 corners. That's Josh Jobe and Jagan Armour-Davis. You're down 6 dudes. You're down 6 starters. And you are still in a situation where you're right there toe-to-toe with Kirby Smart's group of super seniors at Georgia. And you're toe-to-toe, with those guys. So even with this being a rebuilding year coming from Coach Saban for 2021 and all of us that watch Alabama football, for your rebuilding year to be 13 wins, SEC Western Division title, SEC championship, you crowned a Heisman Trophy winner, you got a Bronco Nagurski Award winner, you got a few All-Americans sprinkled around in there. If that's your rebuild year, look at how crazy this upcoming season is about to be. Think about this. This is the reload revenge tour year for Alabama. Because you think about so much experience back. Bryce Young, a whole year of being a starting quarterback under his belt. He's back now hungry. National championship. Will Anderson, 2 years of being a starter under his belt. He's back hungry for what? National championship. You got quite a few offensive starters back when you discuss Javion Cohan, Emil Ekiyor, Seth McLaughlin's back on the offensive line. Then you bring over a Tyler Steen, transfer from Vanderbilt. J.C. Latham, it's his time at that right tackle position to start. At the running back position, you got Jace McClellan back. You got Roydell Williams back. You got Trey Sanders back. You added Jahmyr Gibbs, explosive running back, to that room. At wide receiver, I understand this is an unproven group, but you still got some guys with experience in other places. When you talk Tyler Harrell coming over from Louisville, Jermaine Burton coming over from Georgia, and you've got guys that you have developed in this program when you talk Christian Leary, JoJo Earl, Trayshawn Holden, among others. And there's some freshmen sprinkled in there as well. People don't talk about this guy enough, but having Cameron Latu back as a tight end, that's a big deal. Playing a lot of football last season. 8 touchdown receptions, single season school record in Crimson Tide history at that position, that being tight end. On the defensive side of the football, like I mentioned, you bring back a Will Anderson. You bring back a Byron Young, a Justin Aboigbe, a DJ Dale, a Jamil Burrows, a Jamarian Latham. You bring back these guys along the defensive front. You got a Dallas Turner who blew up last year as a freshman. He's back for his sophomore year. They're going to take another massive jump. You've got a Chris Braswell that hasn't seen much time early on in his career, but this year for the outside linebacker out of Maryland, he's looking for a big season. Then you got Henry To'o, Jalen Moody at both of your inside linebacker spots. In the secondary, there's tons of experience with Jordan Battleback and DeMarco Helms and Brian Branch and Malachi Moore. I mean, there's experience all across here, this landscape. So if last season, according to us as consumers here of this program, and Coach Saban himself, rebuilding year, despite all the accomplishments, this season, reload, revenge tour year, because this is a Bama team that's been locked in all offseason. It's been a quiet offseason, hasn't been a whole lot of noise, hasn't been a whole lot of turmoil, if any turmoil at all. I mean, you had the Pete Golding issue, but that settled on. That's in the past now with the DUI. I mean, you had the Eli Ricks thing, but that's dropped down. That's in the past now. So this is a team hungry, locked in, focused for this upcoming season. And I'm looking forward to seeing the reloading and the revenge tour take place here in Tuscaloosa. We go to our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We are just getting started. Upon our return, we go to the phone lines. We grab your thoughts, you grab your thoughts, your opinions, your phone calls, your conversations. Line us up with the dialogue from you right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, people, we're back rocking and rolling in here to the action from the break. Hottest show on the streets, covering your Crimson Tide football news in my own words. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, on the eve of fall camp that starts back on tomorrow. Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide back out in the practice field, where the journey is trying to get back to the college football playoff and win a national championship. Go shout out my man Waylon, El Presidente Waylon of the Blue Wrench Gang in my own words fan club. Waylon with that $4.99 in the super chats. Appreciate the love there from Waylon. Dance and Steven appreciates that as well, as he is back on screen here. But we go to the phone lines right now to grab your calls. The call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Stephen, hi, brother. Bill from New York. How you doing?
Doing great, Bill. What's going on, brother?
Stephen, the coach's comments have me all psyched up. And I got to tell you, I think his comments say a lot about this podcast, and I'm going to tell you why. You know, he called it a rebuilding year. And look, Stephen, I don't put myself in a class with callers like Coach Smoot, Tobias, Tide Man, you know what I mean? But I got to say, at least half of my calls were talking about how good that the previous year's team was. You know, you're talking about like great players we lost. Devontae, oh my God, we replaced Barmore with you know what I mean, with who? You know what I mean? Like we couldn't replace guys like Devontae and Waddle. Might have been the best receiving combination of all time. So these guys might make the Hall of Fame in the NFL. The line, we took such losses. So yeah. I've been saying that from day one. Even, you know, with Bryce and Mac, I can't say which one's the better quarterback. I mean, Mac was so good, but look who he was throwing to, you know. And when our receivers were covered, he went to number 87. We didn't really replace him. In fact, we lost the tight end. You know what I mean? We lost the tight end. So, you know, you have such a great podcast, and I'm saying, you know, take a bow. The other thing I want to talk about is, you know, Toto. I think he's getting such a bad rap, and I just want to tell you why. If you look around, like even the NFL, like who's going to lead the league with yards per attempt, yards per carry? It's going to be like 5 yards, 5.2 yards. For a quarterback, that's bad. You know, they're all getting like 6, 7 yards an attempt. And that's because of the rule changes, and that applies in college too. You know, you're not allowed to spear guys in the back anymore. I remember those days, Stephen, when a quarterback would overthrow a guy in the middle and the pass would go over his head and guys would spear him. That can't happen anymore. It doesn't happen in college. It doesn't happen in the NFL. So really the edge now, receivers own the middle instead of these like really tough safeties. You know what I mean? It's a different game. Now with toe, middle linebackers, they have to be in coverage now. They have to cover. It's not like the days of Dick Buckus anymore. I miss those days, but those days are gone. You know what I mean? Those guys, the middle linebackers, have to be more in coverage. And when you think about it, the two lowest paid positions, so it's maybe 2 out of 3, including safety. In the NFL now, running backs and the inside linebackers aren't making that money because it's a different game. And again, I just want to thank you even for letting me be a part of this show. We're going to win this year. I am so sure we're going to kick people's behinds up and down the field. I can't wait to play some of these teams. Auburn, whoever they are, we're going to crush them like stepping on ants, Stephen. And I hope to come down to a game this year. I'm really trying. Diana sounds favorable to it. You're married now. You know what I'm talking about. You got a band, whatever. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'd like to know what you think about what I said, and God bless you, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate my man Bill from New York with that call there, and I'm excited for the season myself. I mean, I know Saban called it a rebuilding year, and there were a lot of players lost, and I mentioned that. That 2020 team was a special group, especially with the talent on offense and a few of those guys on defense as well. And going back to Henry To'o, he knows how big this year is. I don't think the guy's terrible. But I do think there are some areas in his game, and he knows that he will look to be better in this season. And if everybody plays on the same key together, then this could be a team on both sides of the ball. That's just going to be nasty to watch in this upcoming season. But I appreciate my man Bill. We'll grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How are we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
It's hump day. Don't make a mistake. Get down to Emily's and get you a pound cake. Boy, I tell you what, I heard the bad news this morning about Eli Gold. Sorry about that, Stephen. I had a frog in my throat. But anyway, I was thinking, all the great commentators we had through the years. Eli started in 1988. I remember it well. We had Jerry Duncan. He helped him there a little bit. He played for Coach Bryant, 62 to 66. We had Doug Layton. Oh, my Lord, Tommy Charles. We had Paul Kennedy. We had the Snake. We want to wish Eli Gold the best. Hope he gets well soon. And he left it in good hands with Chris Stewart, and I'm sure John Parker Wilson will help him with that backup. They'll do a great job. 2 young guys there, Parker and Stewart. He's a little bit older than Parker. But, I remember Jerry Duncan saying after the 70s when we were kids there, he said, he never would have believed that a college football team would have scored or won 134 games, 134, 24-5 in the 1970s, what Coach Bryant was when he changed the wishbone offense. Toa, I mean, those guys up front, in front of him, the nose guards, your tackles, they make a lot of difference in how that middle linebacker produces and what he does. And they do have to drop in coverage, like Bill said. It's not like the old game used to be, but it's going to matter to those big guys up front what goes on a lot of times with that middle linebacker. And if you just don't have the guts to do it, it's like Marvin Constance always says, if you don't have the balls to get up in there and butt heads with people, that's not your job. You may have to go somewhere else instead of middle linebacker. But I think he'll be all right. Everybody, y'all looking good. Stephen dancing. Stephen, you tearing me up. I tell you, I love all y'all. Y'all make this the #1 show on the street, hottest show in the country, best podcast on YouTube. Y'all be safe. Let's meet again on Friday. I'm out of here, Stephen. Y'all be good. Let's remember Eli Gold. We want it back. Bye-bye, everyone.
Appreciate weighing in there. The president calling in here on a Wednesday, and absolutely our thoughts and prayers to strong recovery for Eli Gold, as weighing in mentioned, been the voice of Alabama football since 1988 for Crimson Tide Sports Network, the IMG network out of Learfield. And when you look at Eli Gold, the most significant piece of Alabama's national championship run. I know when you talk about Bama football, you bring up Nick Saban, you bring up his coaching staff, you bring up the players, you bring up the fans, you bring up several things, but that broadcast booth where Gold works all the magic, he is the most significant piece to all of this, just due to look at what he has seen and what he's called. I mean, he called 1992 national championship with Gene Stallings. He's called the 6 national titles here of the Saban era. So he's been a very intricate part of the success of this program, and he will be sidelined for the beginning of the Alabama football season. Hopefully gets strengthened, gets well, and gets back out there before we get to the end of the season. But like the players have to have a next man up, so does the broadcast booth. And the next man up will be Chris Stewart, who has done a remarkable job in doing some Alabama football things, but his bread and butter has been the play-by-play commentator for Alabama basketball and Alabama baseball. So kudos to Chris Stewart getting this opportunity. I know he's going to knock it out of the park there, and to have John Parker Wilson helping out there. Rashad Johnson has been a part of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. So all of these guys will pull together. They'll all pull together, step in, pitch in the absence of Eli Gold as Eli gets healthier, gets stronger there. So definitely our prayers of strength out there to him and to his family. But we're going to go to a break here, folks, and the show don't touch that dial, because upon our return, we get to the man, the myth, the bona fide legend on the recruiting trail. My man Justin Smith is back with more recruiting information for this 2023 class, and is flip season fully in effect in recruiting for Bama? We'll talk about it with Justin right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we're rocking and rolling down the street right here on a Wednesday, hump day on the hottest show on the streets, giving you that flavor in your ear when you talk Crimson Tide football. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Fall camp tomorrow for your Crimson Tide. Coach Saban will have his press conference at 4:45 p.m. Central Time. But right now, we go to the phone lines. We go to the In My Own Words hotline, where we pick up the man, the myth, the legend on the recruiting trail, and that's none other than Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA. We got him right here. Justin, man, what's going on? How we feeling? What's going on in that thing called recruiting? Happy to have you here, man.
Always good to be on, Steve.
Always good to have Justin on here talking some recruiting here for the 2023 class. So first and foremost, my man, flip season is in effect here for the Crimson Tide. Alabama being able to flip Ty Lockwood, tight end that was an Ohio State commit or an Ohio State guy there, but flip him from Ohio State to the Crimson Tide. Now, Lockwood, not just extremely athletic, but when you watch the tape, really good route runner. I mean, sound route runner, can find the holes in the zone, can make the plays, can make the catches. He's got some good speed, but a very fierce blocker as well. I mean, what just stands out to you about Lockwood? What impresses you about this young man as he is a part of Flip City, getting flipped from Ohio State to Alabama?
it is exactly what you said. It checks all of the boxes for what you are looking for. And they tight end, great size, 6'5", 220, physical in every aspect of his game when it comes to blocking, can box out defenders when going up and get the football, physical when he catches the football and runs after, fights for extra yards. Definitely a difficult big body to get down, especially at the high school football level at the moment. And that is what Alabama's coaching staff really liked about him as well. They got him down to Tuscaloosa last week, and he actually camped, and they were just impressed that he could do everything that they were looking for at the tight end position. And those are the tight ends that they want to recruit. That is what they need on their roster in the future, something Nick Saban feels that they needed to add in this 2023 recruiting class, which is what they told Ty Lockwood. But I really like his ability to go up and just be a physical guy in terms of attacking the football in 50-50 situations. That is what caught my eye when I saw him, I think, over a year ago. I just saw his quarterback during a 7-on-7 tournament just constantly just throw the ball up there to him, and he just went up there and got it. So he just checks all of the boxes. A great tight end pickup for the Crimson Tide. A huge flip getting him from Ohio State, who has consistently recruited the tight end position really well. So this is a great pickup for the Tide. Going back to the 2022 recruiting class, they did really good recruiting the tight end position. They already have verbal commitment from a tight end in the 2024 recruiting class. So the Tide ability to recruit the tight end position is starting to trend upwards when you take a look at their recent success.
That big move there from Joe Cox, tight ends coach, being able to get on the board there with one Ty Lockwood. We got our own Justin Smith here on the phone lines, lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, if you're just checking us out here on Wednesday. So Justin, continuing here with flip season potentially in session here for Alabama, we can look at five-star defensive lineman Keon Keeley, who's a Notre Dame commit, but several of the Bama guys trying to flip him over, whether that be Richard Young, whether that's Olas Anganine, Wilkin Formby, Justice Haynes. So many people have been reaching out to Keon Keeley saying, we're trying to make this the greatest class ever. We want you to be a part of it. Does Keeley, in your opinion, end up flipping to the Crimson Tide? And what does he bring to the table as to why these Bama recruits want to try to flip him over?
I think the biggest thing is in terms of him possibly flipping Alabama. It is a possibility at the moment. I think Alabama's chances have greatly improved by getting him on campus. I think their chances are a lot better than they were before they got him on campus the second time. I know they got him on campus after they offered him. He was a Notre Dame commit at that particular point in time, but I felt that visit was a filling out visit. It was good to get him on campus, but that was more of a fill out visit in my mind. If he came back to Tuscaloosa, that is where we were going to see him become a possible flip for the Crimson Tide. So right now, it is a possibility the Tide are trending up in this recruitment. They have, I think, even going back to when after he first visited, they were always the favorite to flip him, but they had to get him on campus to make that a possibility. So I think it is a possibility right now. I can't predict that it would most definitely happen, but Alabama's coaching staff has consistently told him that he is a priority for them. They want him to be a part of their 2023 recruiting class. And now Alabama's commits are starting to push that same message, and I'm pretty sure Alabama's coaching staff have told them to push that message to Keeley. But in terms of what he brings to the table, he just has that prototypical size and frame that Alabama's going to continue to recruit when it comes to the outside linebacker room. Great length, 6'6", physical edge rusher, a guy who just explodes out of his stance to make some physical tackles in terms of getting to the ball carrier, a guy who was consistent during his junior season in Florida. I think he had like 16 sacks. So he's just a great piece, just would fit right into Alabama's outside linebacker room. Just one of those guys that you could see within Alabama's defensive scheme when you take a look at what the Crimson Tide brings to the table when they're looking for people to play the outside line position. So that is why Alabama's going to continue to go after him. It is definitely a possibility. I think the Tide's chances have greatly increased by getting him on campus again. It'll be interesting to see how his recruitment plays out. Of course, getting him back on campus during the fall will be huge. I'm pretty sure that is a possibility, something else to watch out for. But we still have a long way to go. I know things are moving really fast with the Crimson Tide having this number of commits when it comes to it being August, but there's still quite a bit of time to go in this 2023 recruiting class. We have all the way to December to go through the whole football season. A lot of things will start to change. I know I was always talking about, I think on the process a couple of episodes ago, was going to be flip season for everybody, most likely at the halfway point of the college football season, because some of these teams will not start off the season as great as they want to. Things can change pretty quickly. Coaches could be on their way out the door, and we could see some changes start to happen then. So that is something to keep your eyes on with every recruit who's committed to any school. So I think a lot can happen in between now and National Signing Day. The Tide is still looking at a long list of other guys who they could possibly flip as well.
Keon Keeley being looked at as a top priority for Alabama from the coaching staff, and these commits going after him or going to him, as I should say, on Twitter, trying to persuade him to come to the University of Alabama. We have our own Justin Smith here on the phone lines, lead scouting and recruiting analyst for the Crimson Tide. And Justin, after looking at the guys that came in the 2022 class, you covered them, you scouted them, you looked at several of them, all of these guys across the board. They're getting ready to start fall camp tomorrow as freshmen. Of these guys for 2022 that you looked at and spent a lot of time around, who are the guys you feel like could get some significant playing time or some quality playing time in this upcoming season as true freshmen?
First off, I look at the wide receiver position. I wonder if one of those guys can break through. They seem to have a great spring. I know Aaron Anderson is a guy who I was really impressed with. He has his athleticism, speed, his elusiveness with the football in his hands. Showed out during spring practice. He's also a guy. The thing that I think really separates him is his ability to just go up and attack the football at its highest point. Pretty sure he's just one of those smaller guys in terms of stature who probably can dunk a basketball because he has such a nice vertical. I wonder what Kendrick Law can do. I know he's a physical wide receiver, looks filled out already. Although he has not been inside the program that long, it looks as if he's been there for a couple of years. Just when you take a look at his body frame, I think Tyler Booker could possibly have an opportunity. He was one of the most college-ready offensive linemen the Crimson Tide signed in the 2022 recruiting class. With there being some uncertainty when it comes to the offensive line group as a whole, maybe Tyler Booker can find their way on the field when it comes to that offensive line. So I think those guys probably will have the best opportunity, in my opinion. Some guys who they pulled in the 2022 class might have had you see this every time Alabama pull in a recruiting class, might have had a better chance to start as freshmen if they were on another team, but Alabama is so loaded in a lot of different positions. Like Nick Saban said earlier, it was more of a rebuilding. He felt it was more of a rebuilding year last year, but this year you're returning so much. So the freshmen are definitely going to have to fight to get an opportunity to get on the field this upcoming season. Just taking a look at what Alabama has gained from the transfer portal in terms of guys who are experienced. Also, just taking a look at what the Crimson Tide are bringing back at a lot of different positions. You have pretty much a senior-led defensive line group. When you take a look at Justin and Boardby, Byron Young, DJ Dale, that group of guys, maybe you see a younger defensive lineman step up. I know those guys are in a good position to have a great season, but I think some people feel that could be I wouldn't say the weakest, but I think there are a lot of questions when it comes to that defensive front. The secondary is pretty experienced, and linebacker group looks to be experienced as well when you take a look at Jalen Moody and Henry To'oTo'o. So we'll see what happens with that. But in terms of a guy, if I had to put my most faith in the guy, maybe I would turn to Tyler Booker.
He is Justin Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Coming on here to talk about this 2023 recruiting class. Ty Lockwood, tight end, flipping from the Buckeyes to the Crimson Tide. And could Keon Keeley continue the flip season here for Alabama? That remains to be seen. But as always, Justin, we appreciate you coming on today, giving us the lowdown on the recruiting front. Take care of yourself, man. Be good out there.
You do the same thing.
Always fun to get a chance to talk with Justin on the recruiting trail as that 2023 23 class continues to just heat up. Now, we're going to go to a break right now, folks. Don't touch that dial. Upon our return, we get to the phone lines. Ring those phones. Blow the phone lines up. We want a discussion with you. We want a dialogue with you. We want a conversation with you. Bring everything to the table. We get to you right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to WhitwellSports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, Tide Nation, we're back in here to the action from the break on a Wednesday hump day, number one form for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have you guys checking us out here on today. It was awesome getting a chance to talk with my man Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, in that recent segment, the Tide blowing this thing up on the recruiting front for this 2023 class. And phone lines open. Definitely want to hear from you guys. The call segment is brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Now want to call in to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you guys. Got a super chat that just came in here. So let's see who this is. Well, the super chat is making its way in here. I'm pumped about fall camp tomorrow. I really am. I'm pumped about fall practice. This is the time that we've all been waiting for as fans and as consumers of this program and of this team. You go through the whole summer. You go through the whole off season. You go through the heat, the hot, no information, no football news, and then you get to SEC Media Days in July, and there's a little bit of joy there. But once August rolls around and it's fall practice and you're back out there, you're seeing the quarterbacks throw the football. You're seeing the linemen, you're seeing the linemen lock hands. You're seeing the running backs, do their thing. You're seeing receivers catch passes. You're seeing defensive backs in drills. You're seeing linebackers go at it. I mean, you're seeing fresh, infused energy from coaches. This is the fun part right here. Because you're back out there getting the sort of calm before the storm, getting the hard work prior to the start of the season. And you're getting a chance to look at all that Alabama returns, the freshmen being brought in, and who was brought in from the transfer portal. Most importantly, how does all of this gel? How does all of this work? How does all of this mesh together to create a championship team? Because that's what Saban wants to accomplish at the end of the day. Creating a championship team and seeing what type of mindset that this particular team brings to the culture of Alabama football. Really pumped up about fall camp tomorrow. Guys, shout out my man Waylon, the president, walking in here with that $9.99. The super chats. Appreciate the love there coming from Waylon. Showing love here on the show with that donation right there. But absolutely, I am ready for fall camp. I'm turned up here for fall practice. Another thing that I'm turned up here, folks, is Tua Tagovailoa, who has had a really good training camp so far for the Miami Dolphins. I mean, he's slinging that football around. He's hitting receivers in stride, whether it's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki. Preston Williams, Chase Edmonds, whoever it is out there. He's hitting guys in stride. He's winning on the field in training camp to let people know that he's got the arm talent, accuracy, arm strength to stretch the field and make explosive plays. But Tua's also winning off the field. And he tried to keep this under wraps. Unfortunately, the media got a hold to it. Tua Tagovailoa, married man now. Got married, got hitched prior to his third NFL season. 2 weeks ago, the Hawaiian prince slinging coconuts and pineapples got married to Miss Anna Gore, who is a North Carolina native, who is a UA alum, former UA sorority girl right there. So Miss Anna Gore hooking up with Tua Tagovailoa, and the two tied the knot 2 weeks ago. Now, Tua not necessarily happy that the news got leaked, not necessarily happy that the news came out, but he is happy to be a married man. He enjoyed himself in a moment that was very special for him, for his family, for Anna, and for her family as well. And the focus, though, for Tua remains the same. Trying to lead the Dolphins to the playoffs, trying to prove people wrong that he was the right choice by Miami in the 2020 NFL Draft, being picked at number 5 overall by the Dolphins. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Tua does here in the upcoming season, especially with the way he's been performing in training camp. But we take our final break here on the show. On Touch That Down, folks. When we get back, we tidy up loose ends and wrap this thing up by talking about the freshmen. But I feel like we'll get marquee playing time in this upcoming season. We'll wrap things up with these freshmen after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we have slid back in here to you guys from the break. How to show on the streets here, covering your Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Before we get into a final topic of discussion, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. So for all of your swagger, sauce, drip, clothing, cultural, fashion needs here, check us out right here, TDAwear.com. Link in the description. Go ahead and get your shopping done today to be prepared for fall camp, which starts tomorrow. Or if you want to wait till September 3rd when Alabama takes on Utah State to open the season, hey, that's fine too. But whatever you do, you go to TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. Do your shopping right there. Get that gear to support your Crimson Tide and support the University of Alabama. Continue to support the University of Alabama. Head coach Nick Saban, the student athletes, and us here at TDA. But as we look at now, with fall camp starting tomorrow, and Coach Saban very happy, very excited to get fall camp back brewing and back going, the conversation is, how many freshmen are going to be able to make an impact, make a contribution, get on the field and be stars and get quality playing time on this team. Because Saban talked about this with McElroy and Cole Kubelik. He mentioned how, Bama's played a lot of freshmen during Saban's tenure in Tuscaloosa. They've called upon a lot of young guys to step up and emerge and hit that learning curve quickly and develop rather fast. And among these freshmen, if you remember in years past, Alabama has had to have, Mark Ingram play as a freshman. Trent Richardson play as a freshman. Micah Fitzpatrick play as a freshman. Several of these guys. Calvin Ridley play as a freshman. Amari Cooper play as a freshman. Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Patrick Surtain, Jalen Waddle, they all played as freshmen. Tua Tagovailoa plays as a freshman. Jalen Hurts started as a freshman. So we've seen freshmen in the Nick Saban era make a critical impact and contribution. As a matter of fact, the 2018 national championship game against Georgia off the 17 season, the second half were all babies. The second half was all freshmen. And if not for having Tua, Jeudy, Ruggs, Smitty, Najee Harris, Alex Leatherwood, Jedrick Wills, if you didn't have all those freshmen out there in that championship game, you do not have the comeback victory over Georgia to win the national championship. You do not have the Nick Saban jubilant moment he throws off the headset in utter joy. So freshmen have meant something to the Crimson Tide. Freshmen have meant something to the success of this program in terms of championships. But this time around, how many freshmen could we see take the field and make an immediate impact? Well, as you see on screen, I have here my list of freshmen that could get this done here. And this list is entitled, the list goes, Jaheim Otis on the defensive line. Keep your eyes on that young man. Aaron Anderson at wide receiver. Really like him as a freshman to make an impact. Isaiah Bond as a wide receiver. Like for him to make an impact. And then Tyler Booker on the offensive line. Would like to see him make an impact as well. Now, I know Ty Simpson at quarterback could get some looks this year. He could. At the running back position, we could see Emmanuel Henderson or Jamarion Miller, maybe even both. Could see some action there on the field, but those are just the guys on screen that I have right there. Also, Amari Black as that second pass catching tight end to put with Cameron Latu. You could see him out there. Remains to be seen. But getting back to the guys I mentioned, starting this thing off here with Jaheim Otis, the guy's the real deal. There's a video of him from the freshman spending time with Coach Saban on Lake Tuscaloosa. Jaheim Otis hits a full backflip into Lake Tuscaloosa. Full backflip now. At 342 pounds, he is lean, he is athletic, he has dropped that weight. He's the real deal. Jaheim Otis is the name to watch. When you see his transformation and what he looks like now, looks like he could be Deron Payne. Looks like Jaheim Otis could be Deron Payne. And we're going to get a chance to see quite the action from this young man. Because just his dedication to dropping 74 pounds, going from 416 to 342, that's a big deal. That just shows you how much he wants it, how much he's after it, how much he pursues it. It means something to Jaheim Otis to be on that field. And he's a freshman that may see some significant action on the field as a defensive lineman. And I think he's the guy that can pressure that pocket, collapse that pocket, suffocate a quarterback from the inside, and not allowing a quarterback to step up and have room to make throws on the field. I think Otis is the type of guy that can get that done. He's freshman number one. Freshman number two that can see action, Aaron Anderson, from the sense of coming in here in the spring to Tuscaloosa. He made a lot of big plays in spring practice. Whether it was putting moves on defensive backs, whether it was him being moved around in motion, whether it's his ability to catch the football, get up and down the field, work quick, work fast. work explosively, whether it's him getting the ball on special teams and the return game and him being able to create big action from a small area of space. He just has a feel for the game wherever he is on the field. And I think that type of awareness, that type of elusiveness and evasiveness from wherever he is on the field, it's a big asset to have. I think Aaron Anderson will carve him out a role as a freshman. He will get playing time. Right along with him, I look at Isaiah Bond. The speed he brings could be the fastest guy Nick Saban has ever recruited as a freshman. And you got to get that type of speed on the field. You just got to. No other question. You got to get that young man on the field. When you talk about winning the 100 meters and the 200 meters in track for the state of Georgia, coming out of Buford High School, big get here for Alabama as a freshman. And Isaiah Bond, whether it's as a slot receiver, whether it's as a return specialist, he'll find a role. He will create a role for himself. I understand you've got Jermaine Burton, you've got Tyler Harrell, you've got other guys, but that speed Isaiah Bond brings is something that you got to see that thing in action right there. So he's a freshman, but I think he carved out some playing time. But number three, well, last but not least here, I echo the statement from our own Justin Smith when you look at Tyler Booker. Going back to the spring, he was on that second team offensive line, and Booker was doing work. He was blocking, he was pancaking, he was pushing people, he was doing work out there. And coming from IMG Academy, look at the guys that came before him that did work at IMG. Alex Leatherwood, Evan Neal came before him, and both of those two did work at IMG. And here comes Tyler Booker, who talked about it. We had him on the show a while back. Coach Wolford, Booker has a strong relationship with Coach Wolf, coming from being offered at Kentucky by Coach Wolf, being offered at South Carolina by Coach Wolf, and then him coming to Alabama, Booker, and now with Coach Wolf at Alabama. I mean, these two see eye to eye, and if there's the slightest struggle from anybody on Alabama's offensive line, primarily a guard or a tackle position, watch 54 or 52, that's number 52. Watch 52. Booker's going to get out there, and Booker's going to make some plays. Booker's going to get out there on that offensive line, and he's going to make some things shake out there on the field. So those would be the freshmen, the true freshmen that I could see getting marquee playing time. And there are others, and I mentioned those. Ty Simpson could get out there. Emmanuel Henderson, Jamarion Miller, they could get out there. Shaz Preston, another receiver. Kobe Prentice, another receiver. They could get out there. On defense, Earl Little Jr. could get out there. Amari Nablack, tight end, very well could get out there. But the guys I have mentioned are my guys at the position that they're in. They have the best opportunity to get out there on the field. But we'll see what happens. Fall camp starts tomorrow. I am pumped to see what this team is going to look like as we go through the preseason sessions here. But as always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, entertainment on your Crimson Tide. You can check this out by downloading or accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple. Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, Google Play, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, your man, I will be back on Friday continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you are trying to get your hands on the fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you go to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member or a subscriber today. That link in the description And if you're trying to get your hands here on the 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at We Own thefourthquarter.com, that link in the description as well. Got to shout out my man Justin Smith, as always, coming in here. He's been busy clocking all of these recruits, clocking all of these athletes, trying to see how many guys is Alabama going to sign for 2023. And he's bringing the goods. He's bringing the nuggets here on the show. So appreciate Justin coming on, doing his thing. Appreciate you guys, the outstanding fans of Crimson Tide football. Your calls, your donations, your chats, your dialogue, conversation with you guys have been phenomenal. Appreciate all that you do, making this your show, your network, platform, channel, and space to talk Bama. I also got to thank the two baddest producers in the game here, the maestro, the legend himself, John Ivory, doing his thing behind the scenes, and the rising star, the up-and-comer to the game, the man Eli Walker, associate producer right here, making this thing do what it do, and both of these two trying to keep me from not going off the rails, and I did not go off the rails today. But as always, people, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands, children. You guys continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. You've been listening to In My Own Words, and we will see you Friday.